How's it going, everybody? Anthony Alfredo here, and today I want to try out some of the new updates on iRacing, and the first being the new wall proximity bottle that has been added into the game. And as you can see by the background here on my stream overlay, you can see a picture of me racing at Homestead Miami Speedway in the iRacing sponsored Chevrolet Camaro I raced for Richard Childress Racing this year. And we actually had a doubleheader weekend there. It was my first time racing at Homestead, and I ran both of those Xfinity Series races at the track. And as many people know, at Homestead Miami Speedway, there's a lot of speed to be found the higher you move up the racetrack as the tires wear and the duration of a run goes on. The reason for that is because you can carry a lot more momentum on the top. You make the straightaways a little bit longer. You can just let the car roll more. You have a little bit less steering input, and you're not pinching the car off on entry and exit like you would if you were on the bottom of the racetrack, which is a lot easier on newer tires, but on older tires that could be a challenge. So another thing that a lot of people don't know is that when you get this close to the wall, and in this picture, for example, you can't get much closer than that, probably about an inch off the wall. Any closer would probably actually get into the fence. And you may say, how do you run that close without hitting the wall at speeds, upwards of 185 miles per hour getting into the corner? Well, I'm going to teach you a couple tips and tricks to run the fence, as we like to call it, or rip the top. And what I was getting to is the thing that a lot of people don't understand about it is that the closer you get to the wall, the more side force in the car you gain. And a lot of people know that side force actually helps the car turn, gives it a little bit more grip. And when you get close to the wall, you create almost this cushion, this bubble. And if you think about it, imagine having 2 feet between the right side of the car and the outside wall. Well, if you take that 2 feet and make it 1 foot, there's that much more compression of the air between the body of the car and the wall. Now, if you take that 1 foot and you make it 5 inches, 3 inches, maybe 1 inch, like in this picture, think about how compressed that air is with the speed of the race car going past the wall. It's a tremendous amount of pressure in between the car and the wall. It actually helps the car stay off the wall. When I say that, it doesn't mean you can just drive in there and drive around the wall without hitting it. You still have to try to stay off it. It's pretty difficult to do still, but it's one of my personal favorite things to do in a race car. And at Homestead Miami Speedway, it's the reason Homestead's one of my favorite tracks now after experiencing that and trying to figure out how to do that well. I actually did finish fourth there, past my childhood hero, Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the last lap, or coming to the white flag, I think. But nonetheless, getting to what I was saying, the more speed you carry, it actually helps as well because you're going faster, right? You're not going to feel it when you're going too slow. So in addition to that, one thing I'm going to stress today is higher entries. In the first few, I'm probably going to peel off the wall a little bit and not get in high enough. But when you do enter higher, you build that compression immediately, and you could try to maintain it throughout the corner. And sometimes, if your car is turning really well, it'll try to force the car to steer off the wall, which in this scenario, sometimes you have to fight and try to keep it up by the wall to gain that compression, because if your car is turning really well and you steer away from it, you're going to lose that side force and usually break loose, or sometimes maybe get tighter and struggle and slide back up into the wall. So you got to just maintain a consistent balance, and I want to experience this update firsthand and see how it feels. If it's too much, too little, where iRacing ended up with this update, I'm curious to see how realistic it is. So I'm really excited because as a big simulator advocate and always on my SimSeats driving simulator practicing, especially during a year with no practice in real life when we head to the track, this is a huge benefit because running against the wall and ripping the fence like that in that picture is not easy. It takes a few laps and takes some reps to get into a rhythm and get comfortable. So we're going to try it out today, and I'm looking forward to showing you guys what it's like firsthand. We're here at Homestead Miami Speedway in the sim. We're going to hop in our car right here and go make a few laps and see how it all feels. I know we're definitely going to want to have those higher entries as I mentioned. Going to get up to speed here. Not going to feel it much right here, but so you're going to want to enter right against it. So I want to run a few laps without it just to see. Right now, obviously, I'm too far away. Of course, right now, I'm very, very far away. Going to run the bottom maybe for a lap. Just get a general balance and good reading on the car because I haven't made any laps yet. Okay, so we know we're a little bit tight, judging by what that just felt like. So it should help us turn when we get close to the wall and have what is called wall proximity. It's an aerodynamic effect on the race car. There's a big bump in 3 and 4 too, right against the wall. So I'm excited to experience that because in real life, you usually have to compensate for that. Work our way up to it here. Just feel what the car is like without it first. You have to compensate for it because sometimes if you gas up too early or hit that bump, it'll force you into the wall actually, and you'll break that cushion of air. You'll break that bubble, so to speak. Alright, let's just go full send right here and try it out.
32.884.
See, I got too close. I hit it on entry. Now we're a little bit further off of it, probably maybe near a foot off that time. Too far on entry. You see, like, that's not going to help because when you see, that was the bump I was talking about. You see how it forced me into the wall? So the scan is extremely accurate because that is exactly how it feels in real life as far as the actual track characteristics. But right there, when I come off the wall like that, that's hard because you have to overslow the car to keep yourself from sliding up into the wall. But when you enter right against it and have that extra side force as soon as you enter the corner, it's a huge advantage. Allows you to carry more speed and overall more momentum. Let's get a little closer this time. We'll work into it. We won't rush the throttle too much, just so that we can get used to running up. I definitely feel it. If I had some D-box motion on this rig, I'd probably be able to feel it even more because I'd feel how the balance of the car is changing. Right now, I'm not feeling a balance change. All I know, see, I'm scraping it now. I got into the fence there. But all I know is I feel a little bit of a buffer. I don't feel a balance shift, but what I do feel is something helping me stay off the wall, and that's the air. That's a pretty good one right there. That feels good. We'll run a few more, and then we'll look at the replay and just see how close I am. I know I can get closer in a couple spots, but I'm getting used to it. I've never experienced it yet. See there, I choked up the entry just to try to enter higher. Yeah, right now, that's perfect. This lap's really nice. That's a really good 1 and 2. See how I kind of turned off the wall there? It just steered me away from it. Kind of let it happen, but you ideally want to stay up against it. Maintain that side force and that pressure. Got too high right there. Gassed up a little bit too aggressively, a little too early.
34.05.
I want to look at the replay now. We'll get a good look at this from the outside. I'm just getting into an entry a little bit. Like I was choking up the entry so that I could enter higher and not worry about getting into it. Just because I have a little bit less feel right now. But we'll see. What was that, lap 6 I believe it was, which was a pretty decent one. Go to the chase cam of our Dude Wipes machine and see how good it looks. Yep, that's really good right there. Yeah, that was the one I told you it was perfect. I felt it for sure. That's exactly what it feels like. And we'll look at my steering inputs too. You can see I probably, right here, I knew I got closer. I turned the wheel a little bit extra, just tiny bit. But then it started turning, so I took the wheel back out of it, but it was too late. The car already started. Well, actually, yeah. So I did that twice, and the second time you could see the car actually pulled away because it did what I wanted it to. When I turned the wheel, it steered. So had a great balance up by the fence. But watch my entry. I come off the wall a little bit right there, but let's compare that to a couple laps earlier. We'll go lap 4. I think this one. Yeah, so watch how I steer away. Right? That's not good because that makes a car want to force up into the wall, and then you're fighting. You're trying to keep the car off the wall instead of just focusing on keeping that compression, staying close to it, and maintaining that distance so that you could have that bubble and that support on the right side of your race car. 6, I came off a little bit, but look right there. Nope, this is 7. That's where I got into it. We'll look at lap 6. So right here, come off a little bit, but I gassed up, cracked the throttle to make sure I stayed off. Yep, you can see it in the inputs in the bottom left of your screen. Then I just manipulate the throttle and manage that gap. And in real life, in an Xfinity car, you have much less overall downforce and side force in a Cup car. So the throttle isn't, obviously we're on newer tires too. We only ran 7 laps, but with the less downforce too, you're that much more patient with the throttle, and you're kind of not fighting it, but you're not able to just stand on it and be able to be that committed to it, so to speak. You kind of have to pedal it and be smooth with your inputs, but once you have that cushion and once you're against it, you could really pound on it. But one thing I want to point out too, if we were to go to a track like Darlington Raceway, what you would notice is when you get close to the wall in 3 and 4, you feel it, but the characteristics of the track, it doesn't allow you to enter against it. If you do, you'll just drive straight into the fence. So you have to come off the wall a little bit on entry, but then you kind of have to choke up your entry and slow the car down so you can get up there comfortably. And once you're there, then you have that added side force. You can be aggressive on the throttle, but you're not able to do that at a place. You're not able to enter right against the fence on entry like you can at Homestead at a place like Darlington or maybe Turn 1 at Las Vegas, because we do get up against the wall there as well. So those are just things you have to figure out as a driver behind the wheel and try to manipulate. But what I want to do here is drop this down a little bit and get a good came off 1.5 feet right there. Maintain that gap of a foot or less, get within a few inches at times, and that's where it feels best. But you could definitely feel the difference. It's great. We'll look at 3 and 4. You could see where I entered the corner a little bit too high and overdrove the entry, washed up into the fence. I actually, watching this replay back, what I noticed, I actually compensated for overdriving the entry. And you try to almost brake a little bit in a straight line, but see right here, I tapped it because I overdrove it, and I had a bunch of wheel in it to stay off the wall. So then that just messed my whole corner up, because at this point now I lost that buffer right here. I'm a little bit too far away. The car's kind of out of shape, doesn't have a good balance, and I still was just trying to get after it, pretty aggressively. But that's awesome that you could feel it, and I think iRacing did a really great job with this update as a whole, and I'm really happy to have this added, because like I said, as a real life driver, not having this this model previously in the sim, now we could really maximize what iRacing has to offer, and we can get some extra laps before real life events and just get comfortable running up by the fence, because there's places like Homestead where it is absolutely inevitable that you're going to be racing right against the fence, like that right there. I got into it there a little bit. Yeah, that's just a kiss. But it's just going to be great practice, and I'm excited for all the users and everyone on iRacing on the service to not only experience it, but be able to have this new technique, so to speak, have this as an option to kind of implement into their races, depending at the track they're competing at. So it's going to be a great time, and I'm excited to hear everyone else's feedback as well. So let me know what you thought, if this was helpful. Maybe I can do more of a tip and trick video. I tried to just briefly explain how the best way to do it is. Watching the replay right now isn't necessarily ideal, because I need to make a few more laps. Those are just my first 7 and only 7 so far, so we can go into some more detail at some point and try to help you guys out even more if you'd like. But nonetheless, it was great to experience this and give you my my initial opinion and first-hand look at it, since it was my first time experiencing it. So thank you, iRacing, for giving us an incredible service and simulation to use. It just gets better every single day, and we love it. So I hope you all enjoyed this inside look, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.